session today, and we are playing PLO4 6 max and PLO5 6 max, 20-40 cent and 30-60 cent. So we're just going through to have a look at the tables and see what games are going. Generally no problem finding a table. We're still looking. Played this session last night. Deleted quite a few frames where there wasn't much action to try and compress the video back to something that doesn't take too long. So I think we're down to about 35 minutes, which is not too bad for a session. The full session was about an hour, so we're onto this table here, just topping up our chips to max. 100 bigs in the 20-40 PLO4. In for another table now. I suspect we end up on a PLO5 30-60, and I buy in for half stack from memory. I do that sometimes in the PLO5, just because of the variance, I guess, and a lot of people do short stack in there. I feel at my skill level, it also allows me to make probably fewer mistakes. So anyway, we're on the table there. I should be buying in for probably 30. I think should be our starting stack. Yeah, a little about that. Going to go through and have a look at the stats on these players on the table, the ones that I haven't color coded. Red under 40% VPIP, and yellow for over 50% VPIP. And normally you'll find in these games, there's in a 6 max game, there's at least 3 to 4 yellows on tables. Give this guy a blue between 40 and 50. But yeah, it's unusual to get not at least 3 or 4 yellow coded players, which generally means the action is pretty good. You get a lot of multi-way pots, which increases to the variance of the game, I guess, because of equity compression. But we all know that PLO is a high variance game anyway. So over time, if you're getting it in good, even if it's multi-way, you will win. You do have the option to run it multiple times, 2 or 3 times as well. Just flat called there. I think there's an argument for probably repotting in position with that hand. It's marginal. The problem is in this game, if you repot, given the stats, VPIP's over 50, unlikely to fold. So you're generally going multi-way and you're blowing the pot up unnecessarily big in multi-way pots, in my view. Some of the big hands you can under-rep by not giving away the hand strength pre-flop, and then you're not as pot committed to a specific holding, either in a multi-way pot. So that is one tactic I tend to use a little more in this playing environment than I do in some other areas that I play. For example, PokerStars 6 max zoom, 2550 and 1025. A lot more multi-way pots in this playing environment. Players are definitely weaker. Pretty good flop. We've flopped top set, open-ended, and we're blocking the straight. So pretty good situation. Just flat there. Not a great card, but we've got the pocket eights to block, so we're not that concerned. More likely he's on a flush draw. We pair up on the river and we look for some value. Could probably bet less than half pot, actually, probably $6. I think to get some value there is good. He may have had a naked flush draw, so we're not getting paid anyway. So the 7 of spades would have been a nice river card. PLO5 hand, not that strong. The 3 is problematic. We've got 3 suits, somewhat connected in a decent pocket pair. I think here it's okay to call and defend. Again, in some environments I would have 3-bet that pre, but we're all calling stations here, so very loose passive. Hard to put them on ranges, so heads up I would have bet that flop, but I think here we're in a 4 or 5 handed pot. I float one there, and we probably should just give up now on the river. Don't bluff that often. In this environment I try to get probably more thin value. Again, with the VPIP stats, a lot of these players are unlikely to fold to bluffs, even if the bluff story is a good one. I guess they're not playing in this game to fold, effectively. Micro stakes, recreational playing pool, they're not here to fold, which is a good thing. I think this is PLO5. Obviously a big mistake pre. I think I got the PLO5 gamble fever there. Hand is not in that bad a shape. Unfortunate flop. And we'll put that down to a mistake, and probably one of the reasons I buy in half stack to start with. Looked like a reasonable opportunity to get the money in for a half stack and get a double or a triple up early, and then work the big stack. So back to the drawing board on the PLO5 table, and we'll try and grind our way out of that hole. The one thing with PLO4 and 5, you do get a lot of opportunities to recover chips and build a stack a little quicker than you do in Hold'em. If you get in the hole in Hold'em early in the session, it can be quite a difficult grind to recover some of the money and potentially make a profit. PLO4 and 5, if you can keep your game plan intact and stay focused, you will find a spot in pretty quick time to get the money in good. Not a bad flop. We've got a flush blocker, open-ended. Get there on the turn. Just looking for maximum value here. Short stack's probably not folding, and we're in pretty good shape. So we elect not to run it 2 or 3 times. We'll just let the board run out. Good river card, and we recover most of what we lost in that hand not so long ago. Again, I'm not generally a fan of limping on the button in any form of poker, but we're just not getting folds pre-flop, so we get to see some cheap flops in position, knowing it's very unlikely that we'll get 3-bet. If we do get 3-bet and we have limped with a stronger holding than what we just had, we then get the ability to isolate and repot for hopefully a heads-up pot. Back on the PLO4, Yeah, paired board's a bit of a problem, but we're going to stab at it. Got a flush draw. Oop, sorry, we're back onto the other table now. Picked up a flush draw and we've got a open-ended straight. We're just going to give up at that point. Let that one go. Reasonable hand here. Kings with a triple suit, two danglers that are not supporting cards, but we're playing short-handed. We're down to 5 max. And in most cases this hand will be ahead of any range holdings that the other players got. Here's a spot where I choose to pot out of position, which I think is the optimal play with that hand. Not the best flop. There's some good turn cards for us. Broadway diamond would be nice. Decide to give that one up. Here I'm just showing you how you can buy your VIP cards, which gives you access to a HUD, 380 diamonds, up to about 3,000 diamonds depending on the level. The diamonds can be purchased in the PP app. Some of our players, we gift them VIP cards as part of their rakeback scheme or as a ad hoc bonus. They are quite useful. I don't tend to use them. I probably should, but to be honest, the volume that I play is not that high. But I think I will endeavour to get one, simply to show the capability of that part of the functionality in the PP app for more serious players that get value out of them, and they're definitely plus EV. I tend to find my colour coding in the micro stakes PLO tells me pretty much what I need to know about the field that I'm playing against. The bigger stakes games here, we run right up to $10, $20, and there was even a 5100 game going last night, I believe, for some high rollers that wanted some action. As you move up in stakes to the the end of the micro, starting into the mid stakes, $1, $2, $2, $4, 3, 6, 5, 10. HUDs are definitely very, very useful. And in terms of big blind win rates to offset the cost, the cost does come down. If you're like me and you're scrapping it out at micro stakes at 2040, that monthly cost of I think the platinum monthly it's about $55 US, so it's quite expensive. You do have the ability in the app without a VIP card to color code and to make notes on the players, and I guess that's probably a little bit more traditional pre PT4 and other HUDs that have been out in the market for a while. A little bit of note taking, a little bit of color coding, some basic information at this level of the game for me is certainly enough to feel like I have enough information to enhance my edge, if in fact I have an edge. Certainly no expert. Pretty bad holding there. Let that go. Single suited kings. Pretty good flop, rainbow, unconnected, we'll see bet. It's interesting. I think that's a bad fold. I can definitely get exploited by folding that holding on that board. But I think I was just prepared to let it go and find a better spot. If he gets out of line when I've got a stronger mate holding, I'll catch him then, hopefully. Because I don't see the point in flat calling with that re-raise on the flop with an overpair and some backdoor equity. I think I'm either getting it all in there or just giving it up. And on that occasion, I decided to go the conservative route and give that holding up. On an unconnected board like that, more often he's probably flopped a set or two pair. I don't think people bluff particularly well or particularly often at these stakes in this playing environment. From what I've seen over several years of playing in various PP clubs. I think 90% of the time, 95% of the time, they have you beat, and most of the players just aren't good enough to run bluffs like that. Interesting flop here. I'm going to try and steal this. That was the original raiser. It favours my range a lot more than theirs, and the bets are very weak. So unless someone's trapping, I'm getting probably jacks and other pocket pairs to fold, maybe even queens. So I like that play. Check raise on the turn. Bit of a dangerous board here. Do pick up two pair, but at the wrong end. It's a rainbow board. We're either beat, or I believe we're beat, or we're calling for a chop. We have no other equity apart from a small full house, which may not be good anyway. So we give that up. And yep, he flopped the nuts, and other player was wrapping at the bottom end and drawing dead to a chop. Easy money. Nice hand developing here. Double suited aces with the small pocket pair. We have a straddle on, which is great news for us with that holding as second last to act now. Someone raises the straddle, we can pot it pre-flop. We will pot it anyway when it gets to us, regardless of the action. And there we go. Button's got a red, so he's under 40%. He knows what he's doing. I think he's trying to steal. We'll try and get it in pre-flop here. See if he obliges. Very tight, 24% in this game. He's thinking, and that is the worst decision for us he could make. We're not folding regardless of the flop. It's already $52 in the pot. We have 24 behind. We've got backdoor diamonds. It's a pretty ugly flop. Turn a set, but could almost be drawing dead. But I feel that we just have to go with it. Still have outs on the river. he's bluffing with cheese into a stack, i.e. my stack, that just can't fold with the pot odds I'm getting. So that player there had probably no other choice to try and win the pot, but probably doesn't understand that with $52 in there plus his remaining stack, there's very few hands I can ever fold there. The pot odds are just too strong. Good hand here, double suited kings, somewhat connected, and we're potting it, which is the right play in my view. Pretty bad flop, but we'll see bet. We've got backdoor spades, an overpair, and a gut shot. I think that's enough to continue with. There are a lot of turn cards that we don't like, so we're happy to take it down now. I think if we get repotted, we're probably going to flat and see a turn and then reevaluate. That's a fair result. Take it down. On the flop, not sure why I'm calling this. I think just the passive nature of the game, you fall into some bad habits. We flop middle set on a somewhat connected board. Rainbow, we've got backdoor diamonds, backdoor spades. Diamonds are no good, very low. We'll bet out here. Build the pot, and there's a lot of turn cards here. We will get quite aggressive on the turn and try and take it down or commit the other stack who may still be on a draw. Excellent turn card for us. We'll go for maximum here. And pretty good river. I mean, they've checked. I doubt they're ever checking the nuts there, so we'll go for some value. And they must have been calling with probably some sort of straight draw, mini wrap, or just an open-ended. Bit loosish on the range opening there, but I'm trying to leverage my biggish stack now. Pretty good flop. Straight draws, backdoor nut diamonds. Bit of a scary card. Check behind, see what he does. Excuse me. Bets out. Don't really believe his story. Could potentially bet the river there, but if I get raised, it's a very awkward position. I prefer to check call in that scenario with the paired board. Also potential straight flushes were there as well from memory. Not a bad hand, this one. Heads up, definitely good enough to squeeze pre. Can see bet that. Not sure why we checked that, to be honest. Sort of lost our mojo in this. It's a good river card for us. Played that hand not particularly well. Reasonable holding here in the PLO5. Under the gun raise. I would say this is a defend, and we do. Check call. Lots of good turn cards for us. It's not one of them. It's a pretty bad run out. Squeezing on the button again. A marginal play, but triple double suited, connected. We can flop well. We can continue and see that we don't think we've got any folds there. Backdoor clubs, not really helpful. We should be giving this up right about now. And not flush draw. And some backdoor straight draws. We'll continue here, try and take the pot down. Looks like a new player. 0 hands played. And we do take that pot down. Another 70% plus VPIP players join the table. Brings great joy to my heart. We should be repotting here. If they flat, yep, I think that's the right play. The 2 is problematic. Top 2, let's try and build the pot on the flop, and we try and get them pot committed by the turn in the river. They give it up. Any size pot is a good size pot to win in my view. Yeah, we really are trying to leverage our large stack in this game now, and we've been running over the table a bit for the last 10 or 15 minutes, and we're trying to keep that momentum going. Players do notice that when a player runs into a hot streak, and you can get away with some cheeky little moves that are quite often profitable. The 3 is a problem, but in position to limps, good enough to pot. Hopefully get heads up or take it down pre. Already got 1 caller, 2 callers, I'm assuming 3 callers. Not the best flop, not the worst flop. We've got second nut, flush draw, and some backdoor straight draws. So we continue on that flop. We get callers. Pretty bad turn card. We're pretty much done with the hand now. Easy decision. And we add some more chips to our PLO5 stack to get it back up to 100 bigs. So the session is slightly profitable at this point. We are 2 buy-ins up, or just under 2 buy-ins up in the 2040, and we're down a little bit in the PLO5 and the 3060. We're probably down 20 big blinds, I guess, thereabouts. Repotting here in the PLO4. It just never fold. Good turn card for us. Overpair with the second nut flush draw, and we've got a blocker to the low straight. Decide to check to control the pot. Paired board is good. We'll try and take it to showdown. Not really losing to much. The way the hand is played out, it's hard to see anyone has a really strong holding. I'd expect our hand to be good. This guy's repping what? A 4? So that was a pretty easy bluff to pick off. We're really losing nothing else to nothing else in that hand. The way it was played post flop. Bit of a loose call here. The 2 is problematic. Pot of Queens, King 10 double suited is okay, but I think generally that's a fold. And we should be done with this hand. Good. Probably defend with this hand to a raise and probably just call behind. Yeah, I think it's okay to defend against a button raise. Look, a gut shot and bottom pair with no backdoor flush draws. And I think floating there is bad. And it cost me $2.70, and I deserve to lose $2.70 for that play. Getting to near the end of the session now, probably another 4 or 5 minutes. Excuse me. We have top and bottom on the flop, connected board with spades. We're just trying to control the pot here. Pretty bad run out. And this is a nice hand. The 6 is the only weak card in there. We're hoping for check, and we're going to give that one up. It just got worse and worse. Reasonable holding. I think we can open with that first in, playing 5-handed. And I don't mind this hand. We're happy to get action. Any Broadway card will make a nut straight. Could definitely continue. And we have the ace of clubs as a flush blocker to bluff with on later streets if the run out goes that way. Pretty marginal defend here by me. I think subconsciously I knew we were getting to the end of the session and was happy to play a few more hands. And provide some action for those that are watching the video. I do plan to have other content over the next week or two, not just video sessions of me playing. It's a whole range of things that I want to discuss. My training wheels are on with video recording and editing, so expect the quality to hopefully improve. And I've got some other topics I'd really like to talk about over the next few weeks that don't revolve around playing poker necessarily, but are poker related in terms of my journey, how I got to be where I am, and some of my analysis and thoughts around various poker environments, the risks, systemic risks across different poker playing environments, probably highlighted by COVID, and also talking about the Philippine poker scene, which is where I'm based these days. Been there for about 7 years. I enjoy it. Good live and online scene. Very strong poker culture. So we'll cover a few of those things over the next few weeks. Also talk about some of the PP clubs I'm involved with and some of the additional services that I have developed in partnership with some of my European colleagues around making life a little bit easier for poker operators and professional agents. So that's something to look forward to. Probably going to wrap this up pretty soon. And I am exiting stage left. This should be the last hand, I think. Try and go out with a bang. Hopefully take it down. That's not good. We'll give that up. We'll see you all next time as we